Welcome to Detroit. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass. You can drown them. And that's what we gotta be. That's who we have to be. Because that's our domain. That is our domain. Because we'll tread water as long as it takes to fucking bury you.
Takes the snap, turns, gives to Montgomery, right side, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions! Yes.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello everybody, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So folks, for this episode here, what we're going to be talking about is rising stars that are primed to have a breakout season. Not just a breakout season, but just a humongous, enormous breakout season. And when it comes to the Lions, it seems almost as if every single year since 2022, the Lions have had breakout performances from their players. Because, I mean, if you go back to 2022, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell had theirs. 2023, you had Hutch and Laporta. 2024, you had Gibbs, you had Kirby, you had Branch. So naturally, it would stand to reason that even more players are going to have another breakout season, because that's been the trend every single year. And the breakout season is when everything just seems to click for the player, and their playing of the game just seems as natural as if they're breathing. But which player or which players do I think are primed for a breakout year? Well, to me, there are three that instantaneously come to mind. The first one is linebacker Jack Campbell. The second one is cornerback Terrion Arnold. And the third one is wide receiver Jameson Williams. Now, each player has a compelling case as to why 2025 could be their breakout year, why this could be the year where they officially have, a great season, and it's like, okay, they've now officially kind of gotten to that point where it's like, okay, they're no longer kind of wet behind the ears, they're no longer green. Hey, these guys are full-fledged professionals, and they are playing at the top of their game. Let's talk about Jack Campbell really quickly. When you take a look at Jack Campbell, he already took a massive leap from his rookie year to his second year. And this is evidenced by both his stats and also by his analytics. Because when you take a look at the analytics, first and foremost, the first thing you're going to notice, and I'm going to put this up on the screen, is from 2023 to 2025, there was a massive jump in his grading as far as his defense, his rush defense, tackling, coverage. Everything was a massive jump, because in 2023, there was nothing that was in the top 10. One was close, and that was the rush defense. But in 2024, everything was in the top 10. And two of them were actually in the top 5. And when you take a look at the percentage increase between those, you had a percentage increase of 35.1% from his rookie year in terms of defense overall. You had a jump of 7.4% in terms of his rush defense. You had a 20.3% increase in terms of his tackling. And then you had a massive jump of 64.4% in terms of his coverage. So this is definitely the year, as far as the analytics would tell you, that, hey, you know what? 2025 will be a breakout year for him. And again, when you take a look at the stats, it's much the same thing. And again, I'll put those up on the screen. When you take a look at Jack Campbell's stats in 2023, they weren't bad. 95 total tackles. He had 5 tackles for loss. He had 1 pass defense, and he had 2 sacks. That's a pretty good rookie year. But then, when you take a look at what he did in 2024, again, it was a massive increase as far as the tackles were concerned. He had 131 total tackles. He had the same 5 tackles for loss, but he had another increase in terms of the pass defended. He went from 1 to 5. He had 1 forced fumble, and he had about the same amount of sacks of 1.5. So just based on the statistics and the analytics, it already makes you believe that, yes, in 2025, Jack Campbell is going to have his breakout year, because all of the indicators, all of the trends, all of the data, all of the numbers make it look like, okay, this guy is really ready to take that next level, that next step. So that's Jack Campbell. let's talk about Terrion Arnold. Now, Terrion Arnold is an interesting case because he didn't really start showing that he was starting to pick up on things until about the second half of 2024. And part of what I'm going to say about Terrion Arnold is a bit of the expectation and the potential I see of him for, taking that breakout step is going to be from the fact, we got DJ Reed in the building. He's got another year. He's got a year under his belt. He's going to be coming into his second training camp here. So there's a lot of things that are moving in his direction that is really going to show that he could be ready to take that next step in 2025. I'm not saying as confidently as I would for Jack Campbell, but it is there. And the reason I can say that is because when you take a look at Terrion Arnold's week 1 to week 10 stats versus the week 11 versus week 18 stats, you definitely notice that things improved. In the first, 10 weeks that he played, he gave up 65.5% of passing completion percentage. He gave up 409 yards for 7.4 an average, a target or a reception. He gave 3 touchdowns up to no interceptions with a 105.8 passer rating to quarterbacks. Not exactly great numbers. But then, from week 11 to week 18, vastly different. The 65.5% dropped all the way down to 52.6%. The yardage was still pretty much about the same, at 319 yards, 8.4 an average, but he only gave up 1 touchdown, and the passer rating plummeted from 105.8 to 89.7. So again, the statistics are showing that, hey, as time has gone on, he has gotten better. He has gotten more settled and gotten his feet under him, and he's ready to take that next step. Now, whether or not that's a breakout year in 2025, I don't know. But there is the potential there. There is the promise that it could happen. Now, the next player is one that definitely has been talked about, and we're gonna definitely go over that here in a little bit, but the next player is Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams made a massive, absolutely humongous leap in 2024, providing nearly a full season of work for the Lions, and he delivered quite a strong performance. And it promises to be even better in 2025, because if you go and you take a look at his 2024 stats, he had 58 receptions off of 91 targets, which was for 66.7 reception percentage. Had 1,001 yards, 17.3 an average a catch, 7 touchdowns for 41 first downs, and he had a 70.7 first down percentage. That right there shows that, okay, in just 1 year alone, he made a massive difference. He made a massive leap. And that would prove that once again in 2025, he should take even a further step forward. And I would say that out of all of them, Campbell and Jamo are the 2 most primed to make that leap. And again, each one of these players has a good reason as to why they could take that breakout leap in 2025. But Campbell and Williams are both the ones that I think have the most excellent opportunity for either of them to go from being a quote-unquote rising star to an established star. The reason why I can say this with Jack Campbell is because when you take a look at what the linebacking coach, Sean Dion Hamilton, had to say about him, he was very, very complimentary about what Jack Campbell is and what he's already seen from him. This is what Hamilton said about Jack Campbell. He said, "I saw that Jack has grown a lot from year 1 to year 2. You see maybe less thinking out there. The game is slowing down for him. And now even going from year 2 to year 3, when you watch the self-scout and stuff like that, you see him really taking the next step. Like I said, big thing is coming from college to the pros is a little different. It feels different. Concepts are different. But how is he getting his feet? But now he's getting his feet under him. The first thing I know is Jack is freaking, he works extremely hard. A big student of the game, And so now that you're sitting back and we're seeing things slow down, I can see him taking the next step. Now, like already in the offseason. And you can see it on the practice field. Things are slowing down tremendously for him. Very, very long quote. But what the quote highlights is exactly what the numbers showed you, whether it was the stats or the analytics. It shows that, hey, for Campbell, The game has slowed down tremendously. He's now not thinking as much. He's now not trying to figure out stuff on the field. He's merely acting and reacting to what offenses are doing. And when a player starts doing that, that is when they hit that next level and they play like some of the best. Because when you're no longer thinking and you're just doing, you see players absolutely play fast, they play loose, and that's when they play at their best. And we've already seen a good portion of that in 2024, and I expect we're going to see more of it with Campbell in 2025. Now, when it comes to Jamo, I mean, Jamo probably had the best quote you could probably ever have when it comes to a coach talking about what to expect of him coming into 2025. And that comes from offensive coordinator John Morton. John Morton just recently stated in his media session when talking about Jameson Williams, he said, you know, as far as what he has seen from him, his work ethic, and all the other stuff about him, he said, unbelievable. Just unbelievable. You know, when I first got here, he came in to see me, we had a chat, and I painted a picture. This is what you need to do, and this is how I see it. And he has been unbelievable. Unbelievable. In the meetings, attention to detail. I mean, I am so excited to see him this year. It's going to be a breakout year for him. That's literally what John Morton said. It's going to be a breakout year for him. So John Morton already is already anticipating that Jamo is going to have a breakout season. And I've been saying that for a long time because it's like, hey, you take a look at what Jameson Williams did last year. You take a look at the rapport and the chemistry he's developed with Goff. You take a look at the fact that he's more comfortable within the offense. Everything for him just seems to be really settling into a place where he can take that springboard and go into being that star that a lot of people, myself included, visioned him being when we drafted him back in 2022. It may have taken longer than some people may have wanted, but it's like, dude, we are right there. And I truly, truly believe that he is going to be in for a massive season in 2025. And again, it wasn't just John Morton that said this about Jamo. Wide receiver coach Scotty Montgomery was also like, man, his attention to detail, the questions that he's asking, the in-depth level of these questions, it goes to show that Jamo has really seriously taken that step forward to be able to be that kind of wide receiver number 2 that the Lions need him to be, that they want him to be. And I'm just looking at what Jamo and Campbell can do, and I'm like, man, 2025 is going to be a really great year for both of these players. Jack Campbell, I think, is going to establish himself as, the co-leader of that defense, opposite of Alex Anzalone. And with Jamo, I'm fully expecting that he is going to really take off. Again, I'm expecting another 1,000-yard season, but again, I wouldn't at all be surprised if Jamo has a year that is somewhere between 1,250 to 1,500 yards, probably about 10 touchdown receptions. Again, I just look at what these two men are doing and how they've been performing and then what the coaches have said about them, and it just all adds up to them having these massive breakout seasons in 2025. And that's what the Lions need if they want to get to that Super Bowl. They need players to continue to develop. They need players to continue to grow. And that's exactly what we're hearing. That's exactly what we have seen from players like Campbell and Jamo. So, as I said, everything is just lining up perfectly for these two guys, and I am extremely excited to see what they do when they actually get on the field for 2025 and how they perform and the impact that they make on their respective units and for the team at large. But anyway, folks, I just wanted to make this episode really quickly because, again, I'm truly excited about these guys. I can't wait to see them, and I truly believe that you guys can't either. So, having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage all to watch the next one. I also encourage all to do one of these 3 things: like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I want to highly encourage all, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon so that you guys never miss any more content I push out. Also want to encourage all, please, to share the content, share here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you possibly can, so that way we can continue to help the channel grow. We're almost almost at 10,000 subscribers. We're well on our way, so let's keep that progress going forward. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And with that, I hope you all enjoyed the content. I hope I was able to bring light to something that you guys maybe have thought about, maybe something that you've been kicking around in the old cranium. And I hope you all enjoyed the content, because that's exactly what I try to do with every piece of content that I push out. And I also just want to say, whether that's the first time you've watched me or whether you guys have been watching me forever and a day, that's what I always try to do. Hope y'all are having a great day. Hope y'all got something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.